Hello there and welcome to this video on JavaScript variables. Variables are containers that you can use to store values in. It's kind of like a little area of memory that holds a value that can be referenced later. A variable must have a name, and there are conditions in naming variables. For example, you cannot begin a variable name with a number. You can't, for example, name a variable 24 cash. You can, however, name it cash 24. You cannot use mathematical or logical operators in variable names. For example, you can't name a variable 7 star or 7 question mark and so on. You can't use punctuation marks. However, you can use an underscore to name variable names, but that's the only exception. But you can't use any other punctuations. JavaScript names must not contain spaces, so you can have a variable name called cash24 and there cannot be a space between the cash and the 24, so the names must contain no spaces. Variable names are case sensitive. A variable with a lowercase x and an uppercase x are two different variables. You cannot use any JavaScript keywords or any keyword that is part of the JavaScript language. You can't use that for a variable name. For example, you can't have a variable called alert something or prompt. Those are part of the JavaScript keyword. The name of the variable itself is really up to us or up to you. But it's better the name you give a variable represent the piece of data that you want to store. For example, if you're storing details about a customer account, you can name the variable customer account, so it makes it relevant. Or if you're storing details about an address, you can name the variable customer address. A variable are created using the keyword var, which is var in lowercase. I will be creating a sample variable in a few minutes. Alright, just before I create some variables, I just want to go through what I have spoken about so far. That variables are containers used to store values that can be referenced and used later. Variable names are case sensitive. So if you name a variable lowercase x and try and change the value thinking it's an uppercase x, you may get some issues. Variables are created or declared using the keyword var, var. You cannot begin the variable names with number, e.g. 247 cash, but you can reverse it like cash 247. JavaScript names must not have spaces between them, e.g. fast cars. JavaScript keywords cannot be used, like alerts and prompts. Variable without a value is known as undefined. Also, once you've given a variable a value, you can change it anytime. So let's go ahead and create some variables. All right, this is my sample script here. This is my text editor, and this is the page that this code here displays. So let's got one content, which is this h1 tag here. Right, so this is the JavaScript. So what I need you to focus on is the code between the script tag. So I've created a few variables here. The first one is a variable called x and it stores the value of 27. Next one is a variable called y. It stores the value of 38. And I've got the variable z and the value is equals to x plus y. I've also got another variable called my car. When the variable name is set up like this, it's called camel case. So you begin with lowercase and then the first letter is an uppercase. I've also got another variable first name. This variable here hasn't got any value. The my car hasn't got any value, but these ones have got a value. It's always good to declare your variables at the beginning of the script and also set a value if you know what the values are. So if I remove this comment and run this alert, it should give me the value of x and y. So I'm saying alert the result of z. Z means the variable Z. So if I save that and run that, it should show in my browser. So I'll click run in Firefox. So that's 65. So the result of Z is 65. So Z is a total of X and Y. So next, if I run, let me comment this again. If I run this piece of code here, you'll see what it says. Go run. It says undefined. The reason it says undefined is because I have not set a value for my car. I've alerted my car, but it hasn't got a value. That's why it's called undefined. Once your variable is created, you can always change the values later. So for example, I've already declared this variable X. I can change that value from 27 anytime. The variable has already been declared or created. Right, so this, I have now given the value, I've now set a value for the variable my car. Remember when I created it, I didn't set a value. It's always good to set a value if you know what the value should be. But sometimes you don't always know. So I've set a variable, I've set the variable my car, and I've now come down here and given it a value of Range Rover. So now if I remove this alert comment, alert my car, it will come up Range Rover. So let me save that, run that. All right, Range Rover, because I've now given it a value. So a variable can always be called after it has been declared. So calling a variable, all you need to do is call the name like I've done here. I've already declared the variable my car. So to call it, I just alert the message my car, and then it shows up in the pop-up window. All right, so I'm just going to comment this out. All right, I'm just going to alert this variable here called first name. Also, when you are calling your variables, make sure you call them by their right name. For example, if you notice the variable name here is camel case, that is first, and then the other part of it, first letter is capital. If I came here and call this first name without a capital N, the programming language will not know what I'm talking about. JavaScript will just throw up an error, say, I don't know what you mean, sorry. So you must name them or call them what you've named them. For example, here, I've called this variable X. If I come here now and call a variable uppercase X, it will not know what I'm talking about because the case is sensitive. So if I run this now, it will come up as undefined because I've not given it a value when I declared it or created it. So I'll click on run. You see, it comes up as undefined. So I can now go ahead later and then give it a value. Okay, I have now given this variable here, the first name variable, I've now given it a value of Udemy. So I've given it's now got a name, a value. So if I alert first name, it should come up with Udemy. So let me run that. All right, so it's come up with Udemy. It no longer says undefined because it has now got a value. Also, once a variable has been declared or created, you can always change the name. All it is a container label. You can always change what you've got inside. So what you store can always change. So for example, if I want to change this name from Udemy to something else, say to Jack, I'll just put Jack there. So I change that to Jack, save that, run it. You see, it's now coming up with a value of Jack. So I've changed what's in the container. So you can always change a variable once it's been declared. You can change the value of the variable once it is being declared. So be careful that variable names are case sensitive. Okay, I apologize. This video has gone on a bit longer than I expected. There was so much I wanted to cover. I do apologize. It's too long. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the video has made sense. If it hasn't, please feel free to contact me. And I hope you now have some kind of understanding of what variables are, how to create them also. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.